Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we are finally going to do the full review of the budget performance scooter from Teverun called the Fighter Q. If you haven't seen my unboxing and first thoughts video, I recommend going and checking that one out first, because this one I'm trying not to do so much of the same information again. This video is more about what it's been like having it in my possession for the last few weeks and the pros and cons of the scooter itself. Now, I have reviewed quite a number of Teverun scooters on the channel, ranging from very cheap to very expensive. This one is on the budget end, so keep that in mind as I'm going through this. So the Fighter Q is a dual motor scooter, dual 500 watt to be precise. The machine itself weighs around 60 pounds. It has a top speed of around 50 kilometers an hour, and I did test that, by the way. It has dual 8.5-inch tubed tires. It's running a 52 volt nominal battery rated at around 700 watt hours, as well as dual mechanical disc brakes. The price is around $1,000, but right now with the sale going on at the time of recording with Super Scoots, you can pick this bad boy up for around $740, which really kind of changes my perspective on it, because that puts it in line with a lot of sort of Best Buy budget scooters, but this one has just much better performance. Speaking of performance, let's actually get the speed test out of the way now. Now, I have definitely had this thing up and over 50 kilometers an hour. Obviously, that's dependent on battery state, hill, terrain, things like that. I weigh around 180 pounds, but yeah, it does what it says on the kit. The biggest thing to note in terms of performance for this price is you can climb steep hills with it. Now, I do live in a flat place, but there are some pretty steep hills, and most of the budget scooters, if not all of them, don't even come close to climbing these hills. In fact, I was reviewing some scooters with lower voltage that couldn't even get up some of the hills half this grade. So this thing, even at like 70% battery, was climbing these hills absolutely no problem. In fact, accelerating up them, which is pretty impressive. As for the range, I managed to get 32 GPS kilometers, traveling around 20 to 30 kilometers an hour the whole time, with a few speed runs in between. But the thing is I was actually filming B-roll during that, so I was stopping and going a lot. So I would actually think you'd probably get a little bit more if you're doing just a regular commute. Because this is a performance-oriented scooter, you are going to find it to be like heavier than its competitors, naturally. It could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on if you have to carry it up a lot of stairs. The good side of that is it is a little bit more stable on the road. Heavy means more stable. It does not have a adjustable stem. So if you're a really tall rider, it might be an issue. Like, I'm 5'10", and I found it super comfy, but it is like a little bit on the low side, and it's non-adjustable, just so you know. Now, for the deck size, it's actually larger than its competitors. I have size 10 shoes. This is sort of what it looks like with me on it. It's big, it's spacious for its category. Obviously, there are going to be much bigger decks, but this is still a relatively compact scooter. Now, Teverun loves to put this sort of rubbery coating on the deck, and I have found it to be quite slippery in like that sort of wet mud. It's fine in the streets, but if you're doing a lot of like sort of off-roading where it's muddy, you might want to swap that out for some sort of like a grip tape. In terms of creature comforts, I always found Teverun scooters to be really good. You have a lot of physical buttons to change the things that you need on the fly rather than having to dive through your phone. So it does have a nice array of buttons. It does have also a really nice screen for the price, I think. And this one does come with an app. A lot of the older machines did not in this price range. And as usual, you get really nice levers. You get wide bars, comfy grips, and you can actually get this in a thumb throttle or a finger throttle, so that is up to you. Now, the headlight on this machine is the same as all the other Teverun budget scooters, as far as I can tell. It's really not a headlight you want to be caught in the dark with. It is really just so cars can see you at night. So if you are riding at night, please don't use this as your only light source. It's not going to be good. Also, typical Teverun lighting are the turn signals. They are built into the deck on the front and the back. I would say they're functional. I wouldn't completely rely on them, but I'd kind of use them in the city. And I'm sure if there's somebody behind me or in front of me, they could see them flashing. I think the next thing to talk about is the suspension. Now, for the price of this scooter, I really think the suspension is the winner. It's the nicest suspension I've tried in this price range. It has a lot more clearance than your sort of typical commuter scooters. That means it's going to be a little bit higher off the ground, but it also means a more comfortable ride. The springs are non-adjustable, so you kind of get what you get, but I haven't found it to be like annoying in terms of compression rebound dampening. I think it's fine for my weight. It's sort of set up in a way that I think would probably work for most people. But yeah, definitely a +1 for the suspension. Now, typically on scooters this price, you usually just get one disc brake, honestly. Sometimes you get two. This has two mechanical discs. They are very powerful for the size of the scooter and the speed you're traveling at. And it obviously comes with regen, and the regen is selectable in strength on the app. Unfortunately, I still find that the regen kicks in a little bit too hard, even at 1. I find the mechanical brakes nice, but it seems like you touch the brakes and then you get this another sort of sudden jerk. It's not enough to upset your riding or your balance or anything like that. I just wish it was a little bit more smooth and fluid, because sometimes you just want to tap the brakes and just slow down a little bit, and it seems like you're always, lurching forward. Typical Teverun. Hopefully one day they'll fix it. This machine comes with 8.5-inch tubed tires, which are definitely a little bit on the small side. You can actually request them with on and off-road tires, by the way. The machine I'm testing are the on-road ones. So on the road at high speed, I found it to be quite stable, even with the small tire size, which is not to be said for all Teverun scooters, by the way. There's quite a few Teverun scooters I did not find stable at their theoretical max speed. This one, as long as you have some experience, it's actually quite comfortable. So kudos to Teverun for actually making good geometry and decisions for the top speed of this machine. Now, obviously, you could probably look at a Segway scooter and see that it's a little bit more integrated looking, maybe a little bit more professional. Obviously, that's up to your taste. I find these sort of smaller brand scooters a little bit more modular looking. That being said, the build quality of this is really good from what I can see. It has an IP rating, so you can ride it in the rain. But also, like, if you tip it over and you look underneath, that's like solid metal under there. I mean, probably aluminum. But I mean, I've tested a lot of cheaper scooters where that's just like a cheap piece of plastic under there with a panel that can get cracked and brittle and leak into the electronics. I would say it's honestly comparable in build quality to the entire Teverun line, including some of the more expensive stuff. So even though you're getting a smaller, more inexpensive scooter, you're not really getting cheaped out on the build quality itself. I already talked about it in the previous video, but I thought I'll talk about it again. So there are ride modes 1, 2, 3, and these can be customizable via the app in terms of acceleration, braking, top speed, things like that. You can set a cruise control on it if you want, and then you can also unlock and lock the top speed settings with a button combination. You can also disengage or engage each motor individually, so you could do front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, or 2-wheel drive. The Teverun app is always being updated, which is good. I wouldn't say it's still the most beautiful app, but functionally it has everything there for you. Now, I've already mentioned a couple cons, but I'll list a couple more like annoyances. They're not deal breakers. The first one being the kickstand. It seems like every Teverun scooter has a really steep angle, which not only does it fall over in the dirt or anything soft, it actually will just fall over in the wind as well. So it's kind of annoying because it seems like every time I test a Teverun scooter, it falls over. I would recommend, if Teverun is watching this, to put a little thumb screw on it where we can adjust the height. Doesn't need to be a lot, just a little bit so we can adjust it to fit the condition so the dang scooter doesn't fall over all the time. The second one is that the scooter does not have a user-accessible smart BMS, meaning you're not able to see individual cell voltages on your own. Now, Segway, I believe, does have this in their cheaper scooters, and it's just a really nice feature. Like, even DJI drones have it, and it's super nice because you can plug in your old battery into your drone and see if there's any cell imbalances if they've been sitting for a while. This is also really nice for anything lithium based because there's a lot of little cells made up in there. And if you have a cell that starts to fail, it can become dangerous. And really, you have to like sort of take it in somewhere to get that checked. But if you had a user viewable smart BMS, you would be able to have access to that from the comforts of your home. So Teverun, please add that to all your scooters. The final little annoyance is the little pull locking tab to fold the scooter. Now, luckily I keep mine in the garage, so I'm not always folding the stem. But if you are folding the stem, I don't know how you're supposed to grab that stupid little tab. They don't give you any sort of grip to hang on to it. So like for me, I kind of have to do it with pliers. Maybe you guys will be better at it, but to me, I found it really difficult. Small little annoyance, easy fix. Teverun, please fix that. But overall, this scooter is exceptional, especially when you consider the price. And it does what it's supposed to do, I think most importantly, which is be a fun scooter. There's a lot of budget scooters that are frankly just boring to ride. This one, I want to keep going on it. I want to keep putting miles on it. And so at the end of the day, if you're a person who enjoys riding your scooters, which I hope you do, this fits the bill within a budget. So I can recommend this to really anyone because you can turn it down and you can ride it at a snail's pace. You can also turn it up and turn the acceleration up on dual motor, and it's fun. So the coupon, December 28th is the cutoff, I believe. Right now, it's regular like 1,400 Canadian dollars because I'm in Canada. If you use my coupon code LandoCycle at checkout, you'll get it for 1,000 Canadian dollars. And I believe they're also throwing in a free carrying case. And I'm speaking about Super Scoots. They are the Canadian distributor for Teverun products, and they are the true experts. So I'm giving you guys my review. If you have really detailed questions and you're interested in picking one of these up, talk to Hatim at Super Scoots because he is your man. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave comments, subscribe if you liked it. Catch you guys in another video. Peace.